Yeah, hello everyone, and welcome to another day. So I thought that we should just let's pick up from where we left off the last video. Okay, so like the title of the video suggests, I called it the father of all lies. I just want to explain to us or show us from the Bible the father of lies. Okay, but then let me first of all read where Jesus mentioned that. That's in the book of John chapter 8, right? Where he spoke to the people. And he said to them, "You're of your father, the devil." That's what he said. "Where are you?" That should be here. He said, "You belong to your father, the devil." I'm reading from the NIV. He said, "And the deeds of your father you wish to do." Then he says he was a murderer from the beginning, right? So he's not holding to the truth. And when he speaks a lie, he speaks on his own. Why? For he is a liar and the father of all lies. You'd notice that Jesus, he's talking to the Jews at the temple, and he's telling them their father is the devil. Their father, Yahweh, is the devil. And they understood what he meant, and that's why they picked up stones to stone him. Yeah, I've listened to preachers who will come and try to explain these things away and say he was saying that the people were worshiping the devil. Yes, that's what he meant. But then they go further and then they say, and he was trying to tell them that they are not worshiping Yahweh, but they are worshiping the devil. No, that's not what Jesus meant. What Jesus meant that their God whom they are worshiping, Yahweh, is the devil, and he is the father of all lies. That's what he meant. But let's read where we read last time in Second Chronicles chapter 18. If you watch the previous video, you can just go and read this whole chapter again on your own. I don't want to go into the whole background of the story. But then you would see Yahweh, the Bible says, let me just read it. Let me read the exact words of Yahweh. It says, "Therefore hear the word of the Lord." Now he's now speaking. And then he says, "Therefore hear the word of." But this is interesting, but I'll explain this maybe in the next video. But let's just go on. I want to stick to the talking points in my mind. So he's quoting now, and he says, he's talking about his vision, okay, what he saw. But listen to what he says. He says, notice he said, "Therefore hear the word of the Lord." Which word of the Lord is he referring to there? Because the next thing he says, "I saw the Lord sitting on a throne." But anyway, let's go. I don't want us to digress. So let's talk about what he saw. He says, "I saw the Lord," Yahweh being the Lord now, "sitting on his throne." We've discussed this already before in our previous videos, that Yahweh is an actual prince, okay? An actual ruling prince with his own people. And like you can also find that in Isaiah chapter 6. Isaiah says, "In the year King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord sitting on a throne, high and exalted," right? So let's just go on. And he's the God of this world anyway. So he says, Micaiah says, "I saw the Lord sitting on his throne with all the host of heaven." When he says all the hosts, those with Yahweh now, that's what it means. He says, "With all the hosts of heaven standing on his right and on his left." He says, "And the Lord said," Yahweh asks a question, "Who will entice Ahab? Who will entice Ahab, the king of Israel, into attacking Ramoth Gilead and going into his death there?" Then he says, one spirit said this, another spirit said that. Then he says, finally, Second Chronicles 29, he says, finally, no, not 29, Second Chronicles 20. It says, finally, a spirit came forward. A spirit came forward. So that would tell you that they were not in this visible realm when this was happening. This was happening in the spiritual realm, the unseen realm around us. So it says, finally, a spirit came forward and said, "I will entice him." Says the spirit stood before Yahweh and said, "I will entice him." And then Yahweh says, "By what means?" He asked. He says, and then the spirit said, "I will go and be," this is very important, take note of the word that this spirit said. He says, "I will go and be a lying spirit in the mouths of all his prophets." Yahweh now said, "You will succeed in enticing him. Go and do it." This is the main reason why Jesus called him the father of all lies, because here it is very obvious he sends a lying spirit. So Jesus said when he speaks a lie, he speaks on his own, for he is a liar and the father of all lies. So you can see it here. He sends forth a lying spirit, and he's still doing the same thing till tomorrow. His power actually is mainly based on deception. That's the honest truth. Deceit. So it says here, and anyway, that's why it's called Satan. That's a deceiver. That's just what the word Satan means. So it says here, the spirit says, finally a spirit came forward, stood before him and said, I will entice him. And Yahweh says, "How will you do that? By what means?" It says, and the spirit said, "I will go and be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets." It says, and Yahweh said, you will succeed in enticing him. Go and do it. So Micaiah now says, listen, goes on. He says, so now the Lord, Yahweh, Yahweh himself has put a lying spirit in the mouths of all these prophets of yours. Why? Because his intention is that he has decreed disaster for Ahab, death for Ahab. So he put a lying spirit. So you can see the lying spirits, they came from Yahweh. He sends them. He is the father of lies because he is the one who sends lying spirits to people. That's the honest truth. I listen to preachers and they read these things, but I don't know why it does not occur to them. Even the Christian those apologetics, I listen to them and I marvel when I do listen to them because it appears like, man, these guys are in darkness, complete darkness, and completely ignorant of the truth, But let's leave them and let's go on. So I just thought I'd point that out to show you why he is called the father of all lies. Because he is the one who sends forth lying spirits to people. He is the one who sends lying spirits to deceive people. That's the truth. To their own destruction. So Jesus says he only comes to steal, kill, and destroy. That's the honest truth, Now, anyway, I was going to say something else, like maybe the church might want to argue, but they can't even argue with the truth. I've had a few who will try, but then at the end of the day, they go and they never come back. So let's point out something else now. You would notice that chapter which Jesus calls him a lying spirit is in chapter 8 of the book of John. After that chapter, if you study, more, you will see that his teachings changed from the first period when he first started. He started telling them deeper truths now. Why? Because his time of death was already at hand. So let's read something that he says in John chapter 15. He says, speaking of the Holy Spirit, now he says, when the Spirit of truth comes, when the counselor comes, he says, whom I will send to you from the Father. Now he's speaking about his own Father. Say, when the Spirit comes, the counselor, the comforter, whom I will send to you from the Father. He already knew that he will be exalted and he will become high priest. So he's going to be the one who's going to send the Spirit to us from the Father. He clearly tells us who the Spirit is. He says, the Spirit of truth, who goes out from the Father. He says, and you must also testify of me, for you have been with me from the beginning. What am I trying to say? Jesus had taught them already. He has spoken to the people about the father of lies. Okay? And that's Yahweh. Their God whom they've worshipped for a long time. Now he's telling them about the Father of truth. He says the Spirit of truth who proceeds from the Father. Why is it called the Spirit of truth? And it proceeds from the Father. It's because the Father, the true God, not Yahweh now, the true God cannot lie. That's the honest truth. And when I say cannot lie, that's why his Spirit is the Spirit of truth. Why I'm saying he cannot lie is this. When God says anything, this is the power of God now, the kind of power that he has. When he says a thing, it comes into being, it comes to pass. That's just the truth. So if he says this wall is white or is cream colored, and then the Father of Jesus says the wall here is black. Let me put it that way. The wall automatically becomes black. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to help you understand why he's called why his Spirit is called the Spirit of truth, the Spirit of the true Father now of Jesus, and his name is also Jesus. That's the truth. You can find that in John 17, where Jesus says, "Protect them by the power of your name, the name you gave me." Okay, so the reason his Spirit is the Spirit of truth is because his Spirit carries his power, and his Spirit carries his word. Anything that he says comes into being. So that's why he cannot lie. That's the honest truth. He cannot lie. So the reason I made this video is just to help you guys, those of us who have not yet understood why Yahweh is referred to as the father of lies. Go and study that 2 Chronicles chapter 18. Go through the whole story, then you will understand and your eyes will be opened and you will see clearly that he is the one who sends lying spirits out. That is why Jesus referred to him as the father of lies. For when he speaks a lie, he speaks on his own. He says, for he is a liar and the father of all lies. So I just thought I'd make this short video, and then you guys just keep studying these things on your own. You'll keep having better understanding as you follow me, and as you keep going back to study these things. You will have better and better understanding. That I can assure you, because you know why? I have, like I keep saying, I have also once been there in the church, and I had also once believed all the things that they believed, and I had also once believed that Yahweh was God. Okay, until the time when I was called out from that, and then I was instructed to start studying on my own. That was when the truth started opening itself to me. The truth started to reveal itself to me. So my bottom line is this: when you study the books, keep in mind you have to be able to divide the words so that you know who is saying what. So when Jesus identifies him as the father of all lies and as a liar and the father of all lies, that's because already he's proved himself in the Old Testament lying, okay, and sending lying spirits to go and deceive men on earth. When Jesus also now says in the book of Matthew chapter 13, and then he says from verse 11 that in these ones who do not hear me and in these ones who do not listen to me, it says in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah. That prophecy of Isaiah is the curse of Yahweh, which Yahweh gave Isaiah in chapter 6. He says, go and make these people's hearts dull, make their ears dull. He says, lest they see with their eyes, hear with their ears, understand with their hearts, and turn and be healed. But Jesus challenges him there in Matthew 13. He says, in these humans who cannot hear me and in those who cannot see, he says it is because their hearts, he says they have made their hearts dull. Who made their hearts dull? Yahweh, who sent Isaiah to put the curse out in the world. So when you study the teachings of Jesus, you have to look for parallels also in the Old Testament, because it will always affirm the truth. What the church is lacking is the proper understanding of what is written. That's what the church is lacking. Anyway, I just thought I'd make this short video for you guys, and just to help you guys to keep studying and stay on the path, okay? And keep the faith, and God will bless you, and I'll see you guys again soon. Okay, so ciao. Bye-bye then.